Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much. We were talking a lot in the first segment about what the core of empowerment is. Where does an empowered person come from? Where's empowerment really come from? And it comes from within. And it's nothing that can be sought on the outside, the external life. It can't be found through materials, but it comes from passion. It comes from purpose. Once you understand your purpose, then you're truly an empowered person, and it guides you through life in a very simplistic way to where you need to go and to who you need to know. So we're going to capitalize on that a little bit and give some more clear direction to how does an empowered person live. And so we're going to go through 7 habits of empowered people. And the first one is mindfulness. An empowered person is mindful. You need to know what you're thinking to know what you're creating, correct? So if you're not mindful, you're often kind of just going through life, crashing things over because you don't even realize what you're thinking and putting out to the world. Your every thought, your every word, it matters. It creates what's happening outside and around you. So once you become mindful, it's almost like taking a little step above yourself and watching yourself day in and day out and listening to every word that you say. If I said to you, I want to lose weight, or I am going to lose weight, which way do you think I have a better chance? I want to lose weight is saying I'm wanting, but I'm not yet committed, I'm wanting. I am is conviction, it's I am going to do it. It is not negotiable. It is what I'm going to do. There's conviction, there's commitment, changes everything. Every time you speak, you're creating your outcome by the words that you choose. So you need to become more mindful. You can have an accountability partner to do this. I have friends, I have family, my daughters, they call me out. If I choose to say words that aren't of the highest potential, they will call me out on it. And I crack up laughing, but it's an amazing thing to have somebody, because sometimes you just say things out of habit. I mean, we're programmed over time. And so sometimes it takes some rewiring and mental reset in order to have a new way of thinking and speaking. So become very mindful of your thoughts, become mindful of your words, become mindful of what you eat. To be empowered, you have to have energy, right? So energy comes from within. The second I'm excited about something, how many of you have ever got an idea and then you think, oh my gosh, I got to do this. This is so great. And then you can't sleep at night. Fire in your stomach, right? That's energy. Energy comes from within, but it also comes from what you're putting into your body. So if you're not putting the right energy in, you're counterbalancing the energy that wants to come out and do great things in the world. So when you're putting in foods that your body doesn't agree with, processed foods, you're putting in lots of sugar, it's going to drain your energy. One of my good friends just wrote an amazing article on the effects of sugar and how he took it out of his life. He has an amazing blog called The Daily Love. And every day it's part of my fuel for my soul, gets me inspired. And the other day he wrote about sugar. Now, I, as a child, was definitely a sugar addict. I loved sugar. I couldn't wait to somebody's birthday, to a holiday, so I could overindulge in sugar and it was okay. But what I didn't realize till later in life is that I was only sabotaging myself. I was draining my energy. And so if you can be mindful of the things that work for you, everyone's different. Each body chemistry is different. You need to start to figure out what works for you. I know that guacamole and hummus work for me. Those are my 2 superfoods. So if you can identify the superfoods in your life that help give you energy, they're your go-tos. Bananas, nuts, those are go-tos for me. Nuts aren't go-tos for everybody. There's a lot of people with nut allergies. So you have to start to figure out what works for you. I began my process in doing this after I was a fitness competitor. When I was a fitness competitor, I became obsessed with calories and fat content and all of the things that really were irrelevant if they weren't working for my body, right? So one day I went to school with my daughters and they had a party and they had cupcakes. And I ate my favorite sugar food at that time, birthday cake icing. I was so excited for this birthday cake icing because it looked like it was buttercream. And I went back to the office afterwards, and I felt like within 30 minutes of being back at the office that I wanted to take a nap on my desk. I felt down. I felt drained. My mental clarity was gone. I had lost all enthusiasm and excitement for everything I needed to accomplish the rest of that day. And that mental snapshot changed everything for me. What I did after that day is I started taking a mental snapshot of every single time I ate, how I felt. And I started to keep a journal of how I felt after certain foods. And things that would be healthy maybe didn't work for me. Things that other people didn't think were healthy maybe did work for me. Healthy meaning, guacamole, avocados. It's high fat content, but it's really good fat. Gives me energy, and I don't need as much of it. So figuring out what foods work for you, that's all part of this mindfulness, because to be empowered, you have to be energetic. And if you're energetic out of enthusiasm, but then you're putting in things to drain that energy, it's counterproductive, right? So detoxing the drainers in your life is part of mindfulness. Drainers, people, thoughts, foods, habits, belief systems that don't work for you any longer, but maybe got you to where you are today. Detox the drainers out of your life, and then become mindful to increase the enhancers. Who makes you feel good? Who inspires you? I have my power posse. I call on my power posse when I'm not feeling like I'm powerful that morning, when I'm feeling a little sluggish. I go to my Facebook feed because I have my power posse there. I actually crack up laughing. A Facebook wall can actually tell you a lot about the person. And if your Facebook wall is toxic, you need to start deleting, okay? I actually opened my girlfriend's computer, my computer, and my girlfriend left her page open, and I started going through the feed, and I thought, who are these people? I feel exhausted. And I realized it wasn't even my page. But I realized that everything coming at us from every way, through social media, through the news, through the papers, every way coming at us really affects how we feel. I felt drained after reading about 10 posts on a wall, instead of feeling invigorated like I do when I look at my wall. So everything that enhances you, you start to pull into your life. I have go-to books. I mentioned a couple blogs. I have The Daily Love that I mentioned. I'm Positively Positive. They inspire me. They invigorate me. It's like my morning coffee again. I read it and I'm ready to go. I feel like I have the right frame of mind. And so it allows me to be more productive. So when you have mindfulness, now you've set the foundation for other things to build upon. So the next thing is being forgiving. Forgiving is a hard thing for people. To forgive people sets you free. To forgive allows you to energy energy. It's funny? Most of the time, people walk around the world mad. I'm mad at that person. They did this to me. They did that to me. Guess what? That person that you're mad at probably doesn't even know. And they probably don't even care if they do know, which is partly why you're mad at them. So guess who's being affected? You. The person who is holding the anger and the resentment. The person who doesn't want to forgive. It's like shackles on your feet and handcuffs on your arms. And it is keeping you down from having energy and brain capacity for more fulfillment, positive, productive things in your life. So think about all the things that you're holding anger towards, resentment towards, the people, the circumstances, and begin to shed it. Let go of it. It doesn't serve you. It only holds you back. If you have to write a letter and not send it, then do that. But let it go. That's part of the process of forgiveness. It's just letting it go. Not being affected by it any longer. A lot of people will write a letter, they'll throw it into their fireplace or into their trash, and they feel like they've resolved that issue. So sometimes people need symbolism and forgiveness. Other times people need an actual conversation, closure to that space. Whatever it is that you need, go do it so that you can be at peace. Empowerment is a place of peace. When you're empowered, you're peaceful. Because you understand that everything that's happening around you is an opportunity. That everything that's happening is a learning space, place, lesson. Everyone that's coming into your life is a teacher. Most of the time, the teachers aren't coming in a friendly face, by the way. The true teachers, the ones that really get to the core of who you are usually the ones that are going to ruffle your feathers a little bit. But you have to learn to forgive in that process. When somebody hurts me or offends me, I think to myself, what have I learned? And then I can move on to the third habit, which is gratitude. Being grateful for every circumstance, for every person that has ever come across your path in life, going back to your childhood, because that's really where the resentments and the anger hold you deeper than something that somebody did a week ago, even if it bothered you. The anger starts in childhood. So you have to start and work your way back and let go along that path. And then change the emotion completely to gratitude. Think about it. Anger, gratitude. If you can stay in a place of gratitude at all moments, you're at peace. Because there's nothing that can ruffle your feathers. Because you see it as a lesson. You see it as an opportunity to learn about yourself. You see it as something to strengthen your core and be able to become more aware of who you are, why you're here, what your purpose is, what you're passionate about, what you can give back to the world, and what your macro intention is. Gratitude begins the second you wake up in the morning, goes all day long, and then at the end of the day, you reflect. I find it very useful for people, especially as they're beginning this mindset or habit, to write it down, to journal. If you can actually write down all the things that you're grateful for, to the point where you're actually sobbing, to the point where you're feeling the emotion of gratitude, then you'll be able to tap into the emotion of gratitude at will. There's a big difference between thinking gratitude and feeling gratitude. Feeling gratitude is an emotion. People know that you're grateful if you're feeling the emotion of gratitude without even saying the words, because they can feel it. It's an energy that you're putting out to them. So gratitude is something that is really important in building on that foundation, going from mindfulness to forgiveness to gratitude, then to compassion. Compassion is really tied in closely to that forgiveness. Understanding that everyone is doing something for a reason that we might not know. Something in their life experience. If somebody is attacking you, putting jabs at you, it's probably from something in their past experience of life that has nothing to do with you. So we can become compassionate for people's circumstances and try and look into their eyes and think, how have you been hurt? What has happened to you? And try and understand where they're coming from. Then that gratitude and that forgiveness is so much easier to really understand and embrace somebody with empathy. The next habit is to empower and inspire people. So if you set out every day with the intention to empower and inspire people in some way, shape, or form, which is what I believe we are all meant to do here. We are all here to empower and inspire people with our own authentic power. Why I inspire people and how I do it and the voice I do it and the words I choose is very different than every single person sitting here and every single person at home. But to empower and inspire, to go out with that intention every day, everything around you becomes like magic. It's like a magical opportunity every time you turn around. What can I do for somebody else? It goes back to that macro intention. It's not about you. It's about what you can do for everybody else. It makes you actually get fired up and inspired, probably more than the person you inspired. The next habit, which is one that I learned from my mother and I'm carrying on in my life, is to have complaint-free days. My mom used to say, you are not allowed to complain about something unless you are going to do something about it. You must offer a solution to follow up the complaint, which is amazing because it allowed me a solution-driven mindset, which is how I created the Butler bag. I created it because I started to complain about handbags being a disaster, and the next thing you know, I'm thinking, well, what could I do? I can't draw. I don't know how to manufacture something, but I had to get to the solution first, and then I could find the people to help me create it. Being a solution-driven person takes the things that you're complaining about and creates them instantly into an opportunity. The last habit is really, really simple. And it's something that people forget about, and it's so powerful. It is to smile more. Smile all day, every day. Smiling at other people number one, engages people. It disarms them. It brightens their day, which then in turn does to yours. Think about people that you see who are scowling. Do you want to walk up to them? No. Do you want to approach them about something? Probably not. But if you see somebody smiling and they look happy, don't you want to engage them? Don't you want to talk to them and figure out, why do they look so happy? What are they doing that they look so happy? Happiness is the only fountain of youth. Happiness, that's the fountain of youth. If stress ages you, what does happiness do? It's anti-aging. Happiness is anti-aging. It begins with a smile. It begins with laughter. Smiling at somebody else disarms them and can totally change their day. Somebody who maybe never gets smiled at. I see in Philadelphia, where I live, a lot of different homeless people, and they're sad and they look hurt and cold, really cold right now. But smiling at them changes everything. You see them brighten up. You see that there's a story behind them, that there's a reason that they're there, that there's a value that they want to share with the world too. So when you see somebody who's angry, instead of putting on a mirror and doing what they're doing, smile. Smiling more will give you more abundance in your life. And abundance is the mindset of empowerment. To be empowered, you must think in an abundant way. Scarcity does not exist in an empowered person. Only abundance does. In the next segment, we're going to talk about principles of success, and we're going to talk about mantras that empowered people use day in and day out to keep them empowered, to keep them inspired, and in turn give back to others.